Welcome back. So far, you've learned how to store a list of to-dos in an array, add items with push, remove them with pop or with splice. And as of this point, we're writing a lot of the same things over and over. So in this video, we're going to try to make things a little bit easier by creating functions. And the functions are going to be little reusable code blocks that are going to make it so we don't have to type the same things over and over again. Uh, and so we're going to create some functions to add and remove to-dos. So let's go ahead and dive in. So it's a very simple example, but let's say right now when we're adding something to this, we have to say to-dos, and then we have to say push, and then we have to say what it is, thing I want to do. Okay. All right. And that is going to add something on there. But what I can do is I can create a function and I can start by declaring this as a function by saying function, and then I'm going to name it as a function, and I'm going to put add to do. All right. And then I'm going to say that it's going to take a variable or a parameter, and then that is going to be called to do item, or yeah, to do. We'll just call it a to do. All right. And then we're going to open a curly brace. And in here, we can put to do's. And then we can say push. Uh, and then we're going to uh, push the item or the to do onto the list. So add to do is then going to become to do's, okay, and then we're going to close our curly brace. And now we've got a function where we can simply write add to do, and then we can say, um, let's read a book. And then if we type in the news, we now have read a book. So now anytime I want to add or push an item onto the uh, array, I just need to type in add to do and then put the to do inside. And I can do that over and over to add things to the to do. So this example, not it could argue that that's not really saving us that much time. We're still having to write something to do it. But the idea here is that we've created this custom uh, process that is now going to, every time we send it something, do the thing that we've asked it to do. So it's a bigger concept than just renaming an action, because functions can do lots of different things inside of a function. Now we want to know, and later on we'll kind of understand that as a basic principle, the function should do one thing really well. And we should not necessarily get into the habit of it doing a bunch of different things. So that's called separation of concerns. And that's still something that I struggle with as a budding um, web developer or coder or whatever you might want to call it. So we're not going to get bogged down with that particular detail, but we do want to understand that we can create function, and a function is like a reusable snippet of code that's going to do something that we tell it to do every time, and we can pass it parameters, and it can use the variables or parameters that we pass inside of the function. That's all we really need to know at this point. So we can do the same thing with a remove to-dos. And so we could say, if you want, go ahead and pause the video here and create a new function called remove to do, and then unpause it and see if we have the same thing. So we can, if you pause it, great. If you didn't, that's fine too. We're going to send it an index, and then we will do todos.splice, and we're going to pass in that index and remove one out of it. Okay. And what we can do is we can return the thing that we bring out. Okay. Let's see how that works. All right. And so let's remove to do at index 0. Now we're going to expect it to give us back record a to do video. And it did. So as you can kind of see here, all I needed to do was chain some things together. So to-dos, if I did to-dos 0, that gives me the 0th index of the array. But I could also do something to the array and then return the index of the array. So it's kind of an interesting concept there. I'm sure we'll see more of that. We can chain different functions or attributes inside of an object, I suppose. Now, like we said, we're not going to try to get bogged down in the details. Our main goal for this video series is functionality. Like we want to be able to do stuff. And so now we've got a couple of functions. And let's say I want to be able to just display my function. So right now I have console.log, and I can output my to-dos like that. Let's create a show to-dos function. So function show to-dos, and I'm going to say console.log, and I'm going to put in here something like my to-dos, and then to-dos. And now I can hit show to-dos, and it will say my to-dos, and it'll give me the array. All right, we can build on that, but now we've got several functions. So you've made your first functions in JavaScript, and now you can add and remove to-dos. It's kind of simplified things a little bit for us. Now, instead of learning all of these or remembering all the different things, we can simply use our language that we better understand. We've abstracted it a little bit. And now we are starting to dive a little bit deeper into web development and into the language. So we're going to leave it there for today, and we will see you in the next video.